Right now you're listening to the Sennheiser MKH-50. Now this is a super cardioid, super duper condenser microphone, and you might find its use cases to be a little bit surprising. My personal favorite part of this microphone is how darn good it sounds on dialogue in an interior bedroom shot, just like this. While it's advertised as a high-grade instrument microphone, it's actually most often used for dialogue recording on film sets. I'm actually really anxious to try it in this space against my own microphone, so we're gonna do that. We're gonna do some instrument tests as well. We've got a whole bunch of tests today. We're just gonna basically go through everything. So strap in. I hope you're ready to learn everything about this microphone. Let's do it. So for this first test, I wanna shoot out 3 microphones. We have the Sennheiser MKH-50, we've got the Rode NTG3 shotgun microphone, and we have the Synco Mic D2 shotgun microphone. Now, I understand that these are different microphones for different applications. However, a lot of people are going to be comparing them in the same category when they're looking for a dialogue microphone for a talking headshot like this. So I think it's a pretty good comparison. Let's jump in and hear the results.
Noun, cabbage. Plural noun, cabbages. A cultivated plant eaten as a vegetable, having thick green or purple leaves surrounding a spherical heart or head of young leaves. The leaves of a head of a cabbage eaten as a vegetable. Noun, cabbage. Plural noun, cabbages. A cultivated plant eaten as a vegetable, having thick green or purple leaves surrounding a spherical heart or head of young leaves. The leaves of a head of a cabbage eaten as a vegetable. Noun, cabbage. Plural noun, cabbages. A cultivated plant eaten as a vegetable, having thick green or purple leaves surrounding a spherical heart or head of young leaves. The leaves of a head of a cabbage eaten as a vegetable.
Now, if you're listening with headphones on, you probably noticed that the MKH-50 actually had some noise at about 60 hertz. It's a little bit of a ground hum, and I figured out that it was this cable here. So once I swapped out this cable, I wasn't getting that noise anymore. The next thing I want to test is the noise of this microphone to see how much self noise it has. Now that's really, really difficult to test in a home environment like this, but I do have a Studio Bricks isolation chamber downstairs, so let's go downstairs and we'll do some testing. I've got my wife's Studio Bricks isolation booth, which is like 43 decibels of noise rejection, so it's a really, really, really quiet room. I also have this contraption, my Mix Pre 6 second edition, with the Universal Audio SP1, the Rode NTG3, and I'm gonna wire up the MKH-50 in there as well. And the plan is to test the noise of each of these 3 microphones back to back. So I'm gonna basically crank the gain of each microphone so we can record this watch, which is really, really, really quiet. I'm gonna match the gain across all 3 microphones, and then we can kind of compare which noise is introduced on which microphone. And of course, there are more scientific ways to demo this, but I think this is a good practical example and something that might translate well on video. I think the MKH-50 was definitely the least noisy of those 3 microphones, but let's pull these files into Isotope so we can take a look at them there. Okay, we're back in Isotope here, and you can see here are the 3 microphones that we just listened to again. So we've got the Rode NTG3, we have the SP1 from Universal Audio, and we have the Sennheiser MKH-50. It's just interesting to see how the noise profiles look different on these 3 microphones. So you can see how much top end is actually in the Rode NTG3. I'm not sure if that has anything to do with the fact that this is 11 years old. That really surprised me when I looked at that for the first time, but you can see the clicks from the watch itself are pretty consistent. They're basically the same level in each of these 3 microphones, but the noise profile, like look how much noise is in the low end and all of this orange up here in the top end in the Rode NTG3. That's really surprising actually. You can see here the SP1 has all of this noise sort of in this like lower mid range, which is really gonna compete with dialogue. So if you're using the SP1 for dialogue, it may not be the best option for you. And then of course on the MKH-50, you can see how dark this section is here. So it's actually the darkest of the 3 microphones, which means it has the least amount of noise in it, which is really great to see. Of course, there is a little bit of top end noise, more than the SP1, and a little bit less low end noise than the Rode NTG3. So this is by far, I would say, the quietest microphone of the 3 of them. And because we're in a Studio Bricks vocal booth, it would be absolutely crazy not to test this microphone out for voiceover applications. Now, my wife typically uses an AKG P220 microphone. So I'm gonna test out the AKG P220 against the MKH-50 in a voiceover application.
The subscribe button is located directly below the video player on both mobile and desktop experiences.
It's used to follow channels with relevant information on the topics you enjoy. The subscribe button is located directly below the video player on both mobile and desktop experiences. It's used to follow channels with relevant information on the topics you enjoy.
I think that my main takeaway from that experiment is that the AKG P220 seems to have a little bit more bite on it. It's a little bit more shrill, and I think that maybe that might be a bit more desirable for clients when they're combing through a list of auditions. That may make your audio stand out a little bit more, whereas I found the MKH-50 to be much more of a natural sounding performance, but it lacks some of that hype that may help you book some work. So it's tough to say what's gonna be better for voiceover application. I think the MKH-50 sounds really sweet. Like, to me, it's such a balanced microphone. It's just crazy how like natural it sounds. I really like that part of it, but who knows what's better. Okay, this microphone is advertised as a high-grade instrument microphone, so let's test it out on some instruments. Let me quickly demonstrate the off-axis coloration on this microphone. Now, as I mentioned, it is a supercardioid microphone, so the sides are gonna have a whole lot of rejection. So let's hear how the sound becomes colored as we go from direct on-axis to the side. So right now the microphone is right here just at a frame, and it's pointing directly, basically at my mouth from a little bit in front. So let's go ahead and move to the side. So right now we are directly on. Right now we're at about 45 degrees, and we're going to the side, and we are about 90 degrees from the capsule right now. And coming back down, about 45 degrees right here, and in front. So you can kind of hear how that's gonna color the sound. Here is around 6 inches from the capsule of the microphone. Here's around 1 foot from the capsule of the microphone. Here is about 3 feet from the capsule of the microphone. Here's about 5 feet from the capsule of the microphone. Okay, let's wrap up this video with some of the key takeaways that I've experienced from this microphone. So number 1, this is by far the nicest reproduction of my voice that I've heard on a overhead microphone like this. I just think it sounds so flat and so natural. I'm very impressed with that. Number 2 is it is the smallest form factor, which isn't a huge deal for a lot of people, but maybe that's one of the things on your shopping list is a small form factor microphone. The third takeaway is that this is easily the most expensive microphone of the pack that we've tested today. The Rode NTG3 is second, and I believe this is about $699 US, and the Sennheiser MKH-50 comes in double that at about $1,200 US. So it is significantly more expensive than the other options, but I think the quality really speaks for itself. No pun intended. Takeaway number 4 is that this is not the right microphone for outdoor recording. Now in the box, you get one of these foam attachments. This isn't even enough to reject plosives if you're talking to the microphone with a relatively close proximity. If you're looking for something for outdoor recordings, the MKH-416 or the Rode NTG3, these are gonna be much better options for outdoor recording. And the 5th takeaway is that if you're doing a talking head style shot like this, where you're talking to the camera, you're not moving around too much, this is by far the best microphone that I've tried in this type of a situation. So this isn't sponsored or anything. No one's paying me to say this. I just need to say this because I'm really very much impressed with this microphone. Now, if you want to see my video on the Rode NTG3 shotgun microphone, I do a complete review of it. I'm gonna link that video for you right over here. I talk about everything you need to know, what comes in the box, accessories that you can get for it, a whole bunch of different sound tests, basically go over everything. Anyways, thanks for watching the video. I hope that this was helpful, and if you don't mind subscribing, I'd really appreciate it. Hope you're having a great day. Talk to you later.